Welcome to Hockey Whiz Talks podcast. Today I'll be talking about how to build a Stanley Cup contender in the salary cap era. Building a Stanley Cup contender in the salary cap era is challenging because star players are taking up a huge chunk of the team's cap. But if teams are drafting well and don't overpay their players, they should be able to put together a contending team. The Boston Bruins, Colorado Avalanche, and Tampa Bay Lightning are three teams that other teams should try to model their team after when building a contending team. All three of these teams have a similar blueprint in that their core was drafted and most of their core players aren't too overpaid compared to other contending teams. Other than building a good team, the coach has to implement a system that best suits their star players, and I think the coach for these three teams do that. The core players for the Boston Bruins were all drafted and developed by the Boston Bruins, with the exception of Tuukka Rask and Zdeno Chara. The core of the Bruins consists of Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, David Pastrnak, Torrey Krug, Zdeno Chara, Charlie McAvoy, David Krejci, and Tuukka Rask. These top stars take up $44.29 million of cap space, which still gives them plenty of cap space to spend on the rest of the roster for key role players. To complement their core players, they drafted players such as Jake DeBrusk and Brandon Carlo, and traded for Charlie Coyle and Ondrej Kase. The Bruins also boosted a tremendous fourth line and really good defensive depth, which is really important come playoff time. A major reason for the success of the Boston Bruins is because of the coaching of Bruce Cassidy, a Jack Adams candidate this season. Since taking over as Bruins head coach, the Bruins have an overall record of 161, 66, and 34, with the Bruins placing first or second in the division every year. Motivated by their loss in the Stanley Cup Finals to the St. Louis Blues in 2019, the Bruins had a ridiculous 44, 14, and 12 record this season before play was halted. The Bruins are a defensive-oriented team that play a rough, in-your-face style of play. They are a team that you don't want to play against in a 7-game series because they play physical and they don't make many mistakes. The Bruins trap in the neutral zone and dare other teams to carry the puck through the neutral zone trap, which can lead to turnovers in the neutral zone. Boston is deadly in the counterattack and will make teams play if they turn the puck over in the neutral zone, which is why Boston is a pain to play against. The Colorado Avalanche are another team that have managed to draft and develop a core of stars to form a nucleus that could potentially become a Stanley Cup champion in the future. Nathan MacKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, Mikko Rantanen, Cale Makar, and the highly touted Bowen Byram were all high draft picks of the Avalanche and could form a deadly nucleus of the future. The amazing thing is that Nathan MacKinnon is only making $6.3 million per season until 2023, which has allowed the Avs to add important key role players such as Andrei Burakovsky, Jonas Donskoy, and Vladislav Nemesnikov. The Avs also stole Philip Grubauer from the Washington Capitals to take on Brooks Orpik's contract. The Avs would later buy out Brooks Orpik's contract, but the Avs still got their number one goalie of the future. Because of the addition of Bowen Byram, that allowed the Avs to move Tyson Barrie for Nazem Kadri, who was an important add for the team. Jared Bednar does not get enough credit for the job he has done with the Colorado Avalanche. After a dreadful 2016-17 campaign, when the Avs had the worst record in the league, Colorado had an overall record of 81, 60, and 23. The Avalanche have made the playoffs each of the past 2 seasons, but have lost early in the playoffs. With more playoff experience under their belt, the Avs could be the team that makes it out of the Western Conference this season. The Colorado Avalanche are a very fast team. Everyone up and down their lineup is a good or great skater. Colorado is very reliant on top players such as Nathan MacKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, and Mikko Rantanen for offense, but that does not mean that other players aren't capable of scoring. Players such as Nazem Kadri, Andrei Burakovsky, Jonas Donskoy, Colin Wilson, and Vladislav Nemesnikov can all chip in offensively. Defensively, the Avalanche are very solid, but after Cale Makar joins the team full-time, the team will take a massive leap. Beyond Philip Grubauer in goal, they also have a solid backup in Pascal Francoeur and Justus Anonen, their goalie of the future. Like the Boston Bruins and Colorado Avalanche, the core of the Tampa Bay Lightning is made up of players that were all drafted and developed by the Lightning. Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, Victor Hedman, Braden Point, and Andrei Vasilevsky were all homegrown talents and became stars in Tampa Bay. Players such as Andre Palat, Tyler Johnson, and Alex Killorn were also drafted by the Lightning and have played a huge role in their dominance the past few years. The trade for Ryan McDonagh was huge because it gave them a minute-munching top 4 defenseman that can step in for a few games if Hedman misses a few games. Another huge trade the Lightning made was getting Mikhail Sergachev for Jonathan Drouin. Sergachev has quietly been a real good defenseman for the Lightning. He has put up at least 40 points in every season with the Lightning, playing behind Victor Hedman. One of the last trades Tampa Bay made was the Ben Bishop trade to LA, where they got Eric Cernak and Peter Buda in exchange for Bishop. Cernak has quietly been a real solid defenseman for the Lightning. Under John Cooper, the Tampa Bay Lightning have been a powerhouse in the Eastern Conference. They have made it to the conference finals 3 times and the Stanley Cup finals once. Since 2013, Cooper has a record of .343, .172, and .47, with the team finishing first or second in their division every year except in 2016-17 when they missed the playoffs. The time to win is now. If the Lightning don't win a Stanley Cup within the next 3 years, it will be a huge disappointment. The Lightning have a run-and-gun style of play that has a big emphasis on puck possession in the offensive zone. The Lightning have been dominant in the regular season, but they can't seem to elevate their level of play in the postseason. A huge reason for this is because they didn't have enough grit on the team in past seasons. This was addressed at the trade deadline with the additions of Blake Coleman and Barclay Goodrow, and the signing of Patrick Maroon in the offseason. Andrei Vasilevsky is the backbone of the team and will need to play as such in the playoffs if they are to make a deep playoff run. Check out my hockey blog at hockeywiztalkshockey.blogspot.com. Also visit my Facebook page, Mr. HockeyWiz777, and my Instagram, Mr. HockeyWiz77. Now that there's a template for building a Stanley Cup contender, I'm going to try to build one myself. The team that I will be using is the Seattle Kraken because that is a team that you can truly build from scratch. Seattle acquires Milan Lucic, Oliver Kylington, and a first-round pick in 2021 from Calgary to take on Milan Lucic's contract. They also acquired Jordan Staal from Carolina to not select any of their defensemen. Seattle acquires a first-round pick in 2022 from Nashville to take on Kyle Turris' contract. They also acquire Samuel Poulin, Casey DeSmith, and a first-round pick in 2022 from Pittsburgh, so Seattle does not select Tristan Jarry. Seattle trades Alex Edler and Yaroslav Halak to the LA Kings for a first-round pick in 2023. Nick Bonino, Dominic Cahoon, and Matthias Janmark are traded to the Detroit Red Wings for a second-round pick in 2021 and a second-round pick in 2022. Seattle also trades Connor Murphy, Miles Wood, and Andrew Kopp to the Anaheim Ducks for Kiefer Sherwood, a third-round pick in 2021, and a fourth-round pick in 2022. And Antti Ranta is traded to the Ottawa Senators for a second-round pick in 2022 and a third-round pick in 2021. Coming out of the expansion draft, this is how Seattle's lineup looks like. First line, Zach Sanford, Jordan Staal, Joel Armia. Second line, Connor Sheary, Logan Brown, Ryan Dzingel. Third line, Carl Hagelin, Kyle Turris, Ryan Donato. Fourth line, Milan Lucic, Casey Cizikas, Noel Acciari. First D pair, Travis Dermott, Ethan Bear. Second D pair, Ryan Graves, Kevin Shattenkirk. Third D pair, Oliver Kylington, Marcus Nudavara. Goalies are Jonathan Quick and Casey DeSmith. Spares are Jacob Larson, Taro Hirose, Dylan Gambrell, and Kiefer Sherwood. On IR, Nolan Patrick. Top prospects, Samuel Poulin. This brings us to the 2021 draft. The Seattle Kraken have the 3rd and 16th pick in the 2021 draft. At the 2021 draft, Seattle trades picks 16, 34, and 36 to the Nashville Predators for pick 10. Seattle Kraken select Dylan Guenther and Brent Clark in the 2021 draft. Seattle finishes the 2021-2022 season with the worst record in the NHL, but after the draft lottery, they ended up with the 3rd pick in the draft. Seattle has the 3rd, 15th, and 24th pick in the 2022 draft. At the 2022 draft, Seattle trades pick 15, 24, 33, and 36 to the Anaheim Ducks for pick 4. Seattle Kraken select Brad Lambert and Ivan Miroshnichenko in the 2022 draft. In the 2022 offseason, Seattle buys out Kyle Turris and then makes a major trade involving Jordan Staal. Seattle trades Jordan Staal to the Dallas Stars for Denis Gurianov, Riley Tufte, and a first-round pick in 2023. Seattle also trades Connor Sheary, Kevin Shattenkirk, and a first-round pick in 2023 to the Columbus Blue Jackets for Elvis Merzlikins and Alexander Texier. In free agency, Seattle signs Vincent Trocheck to a 6-year deal worth $5.75 million per season. Seattle is much improved during the 2022-2023 season, but they still missed the playoffs. They have the 16th pick in the draft. Seattle has picked 7 and 16 in the 2023 draft. At the 2023 draft, Seattle trades Logan Brown, pick 7, 16, and a first-round pick in 2024 to the Minnesota Wild for pick 2. Seattle Kraken select Matvei Mikov in the 2023 draft. In the 2023 offseason, Seattle trades Nolan Patrick and Denis Gurianov to the Calgary Flames for Dylan Dubé and Andrew Mangiapane. And now a word from our sponsor. Check out my other podcasts on soundcloud.com/MrHockeyWiz777. The Seattle Kraken have built a very dangerous young team that has the potential to be a contending team. This is how the lineup looks like. The first line is Ivan Miroshnichenko, Dylan Dubé, and Matvei Mikov. Second line is Alexander Texier, Brad Lambert, and Dylan Guenther. Third line is Andrew Mangiapane, Vincent Trocheck, and Samuel Poulin. Fourth line is Riley Tufte, Casey Cizikas, and Ryan Donato. First D pair is Ryan Graves and Brant Clark. Second D pair is Travis Dermott and Ethan Bear. Third D pair is Oliver Kylington and Marcus Nudavara. Goalies are Elvis Merzlikins and Jonathan Quick. Spares are Dylan Gambrell and Jacob Larson. Seattle has everything in place to ensure that they are title contenders for at least the next 3 years, because after that, they might not be able to afford other key players. On my next podcast, I'll be talking about how the Boston Bruins can go from a contender to a lottery team overnight.